Hey, Mark. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Oh, good. How are you doing?
good. Just a little bit louder.
Louder? Okay.
Why can they always hear me and they can never hear you?
You have a louder voice.
I do?
Yes.
I hate when you go into that mic setting. That makes me really nervous.
No, can't make it louder otherwise.
Move back. You have to move away from the thing in order for them to see if they can hear you.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me better now?
No,
No.
I can hear Kirsten.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just the volume of his voice. It's not the technology.
Well, he should speak a little bit louder. Or you should only speak.
I'll try to speak as loud as I can. I'm just so recovering.
Okay.
He's recovering from the flu.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, he hasn't been to work the entire week.
Oh, so then why is he working out today?
Yeah, I told him I would teach, but he said he can do it.
Well, I want to start doing something.
Okay, that's fine. I'm
He's
not
been
gonna.
really
I was
knocked out.
bedridden for probably 3 or 4 days of the week.
It wasn't COVID?
No, I
No.
got tested. It was not.
It was just the flu, like fever, sweats, sore
Did he get a
throat,
flu?
cough.
Did he get a flu shot?
No, he didn't.
Oh my God.
I
You're killing
did.
me.
I did, and I've been living with him, and I'm fine. So, yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
He's a big boy now.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I told him every day, stop in Publix, get your flu shot. Get your flu shot. And then he never did. But I think once he gets better,
Yes, lesson learned.
I'm gonna take him to get it.
Lesson learned.
He could still get it, right? Once he's 100% better.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So he's gonna get it for sure. Are you doing it with your glasses on?
No, I'm not doing it with my glasses on.
Okay.
I just want to see your face.
Sean, you should be in bed.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's so funny. I have finally gotten enough strength where I can actually function a whole day. Not at 100%, mind you, but I feel, compared to I was about 3 days ago, so much better.
He was on death's door now.
That's
We're not-
doorstep.
Yeah,
So anyways,
let's go. We're late.
we're late. Okay.
We're late. We gotta start.
All right. We will get started. It's
And if
done-
his voice runs out, he'll just give me the mic and I'll finish.
Yeah, and if I drop off where you can't hear me, just let me know. Be audible. So I want to make the experience as best for you as I can. And to get started today, on our Sunday fun day, we're going to come into the middle parts of our mats. We're going to take our feet to the sides of the mat, and today we're going to actually step the toes slightly off the mat. So we're having external rotation in the feet. And then I want you to kind of like pretend you're like sitting down in the seat. And then I'd like you to take your butt and then pull it backwards. And I'd like you to kind of make a little bit of an observation of what's going on in the belly and low back area. Now, if you've pushed your tailbone backwards, I'd like you to engage your six-pack muscle and kind of like pull with that abdominal muscle, the erectus abdominis, the pelvic girdle kind of up. And then once you've done that, I'd like you to straighten the legs, straighten through the spine, straighten through the neck. Make that pull nice and high, and then take your shoulders, pull them up to the ears. And then open the palms to face forward. And then sweep the straight arms backwards. There we go. Now, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, pull your butt back and give me as much weight bearing into the heel of the foot. And then, much like you would do a sumo squat, I'd like you to lower your butt down. Right. And then when you get to a reasonable level that you feel like you've still got control and you haven't lost that integral muscle engagement where your tailbone feels like it's reaching back and you've got a little bit of compression in your low back. So we don't want to go too far where we create that situation. Come back up and then come back down. All the while you're kind of sweeping back the arms on this up position. Now let's take the thumbs and spiral them backwards and then descend back down, keeping most of the weight best as we can in the back part of the foot, just looking for a certain activation of muscle. On the next descent, we're going to hold down and then bring the arms forward, facing the palms together. So as we hold on this spot, I want you to kind of get a feel of what's going on with the legs. Are they inclining to open up or close? And I'd like you to try to find a balance between the two. And that's simply by looking down and see the aim of the knee relative to your toes. And if they're aiming in the same direction, that's pretty much where you need to be. Now rise back up, lower back down. And on each of these repetitions, see if you can increase the depth of how far you can go. And as you go deeper, check in with what the knees are doing. Are they splaying out, or are you able to track them with the toes? So in other words, I want you to try to track them with the toes. Then let's hold down. Take the arms, open them wide. Swing them back together, bring them palm to palm. Interlock the fingers. Come back up. Lower back down. Hold down, rotate right. Come back center, and then go left. And then come back center. Go right again, and then go left again. Center it, rise up, release, and let the arms sweep back. Bring your hands all the way to the sky as you inhale. Keep those legs nice and straight. And as you exhale this time, keep reaching for the sky, and let's step the toes so that they face straight forward. As you inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, hold all the way down. Let your fingertips find a nice rest on the mat. Excuse me. Exactly. And then as you inhale, come to it straight back. And as you exhale, let that back flex. And then drift your weight back to give you as much weight bearing into the heels. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Walk your hands forward and step your feet back as we bind ourselves in plank. Let's widen out the position of the feet. So take them to the sides of the mat, so the baby toes to the sides of the mat. Have a little bit of together time. Become little mosquitoes. I'm so happy to see everybody. And pull your hips upward and backward to down dog. Push up onto your tippy toes. Drive your heels into the earth. Tippy toe. And drive heel. Do that a couple more times. And then when you're ready, drift back to your plank pose. And then lower both knees. We're going to keep them in the line of the sides of the mat. So we have the baby toes and the knees wide, wide, wide. Drift your hips backwards and walk your hands forward. I like to practice this with my forearms up and off the mat. So the arms are relatively straight. Gives us an opportunity to find a different stretch. Shoulders. Now take the back of the head and lift it to the sky, and make your chest proud as you push through your arms towards the mat without compromising the straightness. Up. Just walk the hands back in. Let your head fall, and then draw from your belly button up and into the spine, your belly. And then let the head fall, and then tuck your tailbone under
So you're kind of like rotating it from back to forward. Lots of flexion in the upper spine. This ironically seems, sorry, it seems a little ironic, but this is also creating length or extension in the lumbar spine. So we're kind of stretching both, we're stretching one as we compress the other. And then we're going to reverse this. This is why cat and cow is such a good stretch. Is that we work these two segments of the spine to find flexion and articulate all of the joints in those two spinal regions. How much fun is that? Now reverse. In this instance here, we have our back of our head pulling to the sky, and we have our tailbone flipping or rotating upward to the sky. Pull your belly button up and into the spine. And then as you release the breath, let's push everything away from the earth so your arms are nice and straight and your shoulder capsules have kind of drifted to the front part of the body. And then let the chest kind of softly drip down in between the arms. And then take your right hand, step it forward towards the front of your mat. And then step it back. If we make this movement of the arms as we switch to opposite side, I'd like to be mindfully aware and spatially aware of any movement that may be happening through the hips. So if we are moving the hips side to side, I'd like you to gather some support and also some stability of the movement by not allowing that. It's not really a lot of overload for this. It should feel relatively easy, but we're more or less just initiating a practice of stabilizing the hips. But it challenges a little bit. Now let's have a meet with hands back under shoulders, knees maintaining that width, let the chest push through the arms, and then take your butt, flip that tailbone up to the sky, and take the back of the head and lift it up to the sky. And then come to a neutral spine and extend the right arm forward this time. And then switch it for the left. And the same observance, if you will, of what's going on in your hips. Are they shifting side to side, or are they maintaining a relatively immobile stance? So if you can, make it immobile. Let's alternate a few more times. And then we're going to add a little more progression to this. Let's all meet back on the quadruped or all four position. And we're going to extend the right arm forward. And before we do anything with the left leg, because that's what we're adding in next, I want you to maintain that stable hip position. We've been practicing this. So let's take the left leg now and push it back and lift it up into the air today. I'm going to go right to the big work and then come back to all fours. You may notice this is a little more challenging to keep the hips in place, but I want you to work as best you can to do so. Just alternate it out from side to side. You might find that you get a little better at doing this, a few more repetitions. You might have already mastered it. I don't know. You know the answer to that, right? All right. Let's do it one more time each side. And then let's meet in all four positions. Take your feet, sweep them together. So the knees maintain a wide stance, the edges of the mat. You're up on your toes at the back, and I'm just letting my rear end kind of drift down towards the heels of my feet. You know, I'm keeping my chest nice and long as I walk my hands forward, keeping the forearms up off the mat. And the upper body just descend towards the mat. It's such an amazing stretch for a lot of us, that, including myself, that experience interior rotation of our shoulders. And then come back in with the hands. Step the feet out, float the knees, And then take the left leg, extend it back. Now, this is a progression from what we were doing earlier. Bring that back to the earth. We're keeping the knees floating as we alternate side to side. I'm asking you, as best you can, to keep that lateral or side to side shift nominal. And that's the shift of the hips. Let's do it a couple more times. And then when you're ready, pull your hips up and back. We're in a modified down dog. It's kind of awkward, but I'm going to step my feet forward now. I ask you to do the same. Keeping the feet, hands hip width apart. Inhale, extend to a flat ball. Exhale, fold back down. And one vertebrae at a time. Let's pull upper body up to standing. And bring the hands to the sky. A lot of times on our wrists, if you need to shake them up, please do so. As we salute the sun, pull long your arms. So separate the fingers widely. Pull, pull, pull. Almost like you're trying to pull the shoulders out of the sockets. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, bring hands over heart. Step your right foot forward and your left foot backwards. Now, in that left knee, I'd like you to establish a little bend. And let's just check in with that left heel. If it's kind of like angled one direction or the other, so internal or external, reduce both. Try to get it aiming straight up at the sky. Now, take the right knee and try to straighten it. So we have that bend in the left, and we have a relatively straight right leg. We're going to lean in the upper body. Nice. Now, take the right knee, bend it, and then let the knee shift forward. Normally, we don't practice shifting the knee forward of the toe box, but it's not wrong to do that. It's just that in prior practice, we like to do certain things to elicit certain muscle use. So today you might feel a little differently doing this, and that's good. Now straighten the right knee. Your hips should be shifting backwards. That left knee is still bent. You still have a lot of load in that right leg, and it should kind of feel like it's work. Let the right knee bend and let it push forward of the toe box. And straighten that right knee again. And then upright the body. And take the back foot as we straighten the left leg, step it forward. Oops. Notice my balance is still a little off with this flu thing, almost not resolved. All right, take your right foot and step it backwards. Take the right knee, bend it. So right now we presently should have a bend in both knees. Take the left knee, straighten it. You'll notice nothing's really changed to the right side of the body. We still have that bend. As we bend the left knee, shift it forward. And I probably forgot to mention, but if I did, here it is. Make sure you're leaning into this. The amount of lean will be dependent upon the acceptance of workload for these muscles. So find your spot. Straighten the left. Keep the right knee bent. The angle in that right knee bend is going to change, but it's still going to remain bent. Take the left knee, shift it forward. Straighten that left leg. And then bend that left knee. And then straighten it. And then upright the body. Straighten that right leg, step it forward, push your hands to the sky, and say, oh my God, that's over. As you take a big breath in, and then exhale it, fold all the way down, and then have a seat on the mat, and then lie all the way down. While you do that, I'm going to take a little recovery. Grab some water. All right. So in this lying down position, we're going to take both feet and step them in so that the feet are flat onto the earth. And I like you to have them flat on the earth, but not where most of the weight is in the heel. So step the heels close enough to your butt. We can have a really good, fairly distributed weight bearing in the foot. All right, now your belly button. I'd like you to hollow it out, pull it in towards the spine. And then while you work to do that, and while you work to maintain that muscular activation, take your hands, reach them to the sky. All right, now, Pilates style sit up with a modification. That's what we're doing right now. This is going to be a lot more challenging because the cantilever, which is the legs extended position, is going to be removed slightly. So I'm going to come up Pilates style slowly and then dive down. And I didn't mention this, but in case you had your knees too close together, you need to separate them. And then reach your arms forward, keep the arms straight. You're kind of reaching through, extending, extending, extending. You'll find more acceptance of this the next time we come through on the next rep. And then come back down, slowly C-curving the spine, slowly descending down. You might notice that your hip flexors are a little more involved in this. It's all right. Come back up again, slowly. Just think of a 5 count, something around there. First one done loses, that kind of routine. That old chestnut. Diving down, reaching forward. Great. And then holding here for a couple breaths, enjoying that nice lower back lengthening. And as you return this time, please do it as slowly as you can. When you drive all the way down, extend the legs all the way straight, separate them about hip width apart. Flex the feet, you have dorsiflexion. We're going to come back up. This is more of a regular style, Pilates style. Sit up, sweep the arms down, make sure you drop your chin in towards your chest, and then peel each, as best you can, each vertebrae of the spine up, and then dive the hands between the feet and extend all the way up. Let your fingertips or palms, whatever's best or can be touched, to the floor. Take a big breath in. As you release it, begin the descent, heading back, slowly, surely. So we've been utilizing those muscles in the previous version of this exercise. It should start to feel like it's a little more challenging, hopefully. And then when you've done that, I'm going to do this a few more times. So at your own pace, which is not a fast pace, just continue to rep it out. Once you've completed your next repetition, which is basically returning them back to the mat, hold back there. Just meet in that position. Lying down. Yeah, the lying down position. And then raise both legs up and into the air. And today, as you should practice, let's make some length for the legs. I'd like you to take your feet, flex them, and then drive the heels to the sky. So you should have relatively straight legs happening right now. Now, while you work to keep the legs relatively straight, I want you to check in with the lumbar or low back region. There's an easy way to tell if it's connected to your mat, and that's just by the skin pressure. So if you feel it's lifted, i.e. there's no pressure there, I'd like you to pull the legs forward towards your head so you can feel the sensation of that skin of the low back connected to the mat. And that's what I'm going to ask you to hold as we begin to lower the legs. Now, as you lower, I'd like you to take your belly button and hollow it out And then find the spot where you, on the precipice of lifting that low back off the mat, because I don't want you to do that. I want you to find a spot where you're challenged enough, where you're able to maintain that low back skin touch sensation, if you will. Just hold there for 1 second. Now, take your arms, reach them up above the chest. And then we're going to take your fingertips as you rotate the palms to face each other. And then you're going to reach those fingertips up towards the toes without moving the legs back. So this is not an exercise where you pull the legs back to you. You're going up to meet those toes by reaching forward to them. A different exercise. Get as high as you can, and then lower back down. And then do it again. Oh my goodness, are you a little tired there? Okay, I'm just my busting on Kirsten. Come back up one more time. I know it's a lot of work. Should be a lot of burning going on. This is why we're doing this. Killing you with kindness, but also with the amount of time we're doing that. And then lower back down and give me a couple more repetitions. I know it's challenging. Take a break as you need. That's not about over exerting. It's about using the right amount of effort to generate results. And then lower back down. And then lower the legs and stretch it up. So you have your toes pointing forward this time. So feet are not flexed, they're pointing. And then reach your arms back. And then from the center, reach to our belly button. I like you to pull arms one direction, toes the opposite, and find as much length. Take a big breath in. And on the exhale or release of that breath, pull the knees up and into the chest, wrap your arms around your shins. Give them a big hug. And try to pull your forehead up to meet the knees. And then relax everything, let those legs come back to the floor, but this time we're not going long. We're going to put the feet, we're going to plant them back on the earth. So your knees are bent, obviously. Try to switch up the verbiage so it sounds interesting. And with the feet about hip width apart, we're going to take our tailbone and we're going to do this pelvic rotation thing I often talk about. So that lumbar or low back, finding that skin touch connection, if you will, by kind of rocking the pelvic girdle. So I kind of got that lower back touching the earth. And when I have it, I'm going to take an engagement of the abdominal muscles that enable the spine in that lower spine not to flex or extend. So it's remaining stable. And then we're going to take a lift of that pelvic girdle up off the mat. So it's like a bridge. In fact, it is a bridge. And it's more of a control type of bridge because we've thought a lot about how and what we're going to activate to stabilize. Now that we're up, we're going to take our left leg and extend it forward. And I know that a lot of people like to shift their feet around as we switch sides. I'm going to continue to talk. But I'm asking you to kind of maintain that width that you can, which is about feet about hip width apart. And this is again a different type of practice of hip stabilization. We're not shifting side to side, and we're not trying to compensate any muscle activation by bringing the feet closer together. This is really an exercise for these rotational stabilizers in our body. Let's do this a few more times. It's amazing. This is a really good exercise when it's executed with this type of precision. And then everyone meet with the feet down position. And then take your hands and reach them up into the air. And then slowly and gently lower your tailbone, not your thigh, your tailbone towards the mat. And again, we're trying to minimize any kind of flexion or extension in the low back. You've got it all engaged. Once you kind of get that tailbone touching, you're going to rise back up. And we're going to oscillate between the low and high position. Nice and slow. It's not a race. The knees, again, are kind of a guide towards muscle interaction. And if you find the knees are beginning to splay open, I'd like you to keep the same line of the kneecap with the toes. And when you rise up, hold up, take your left leg, extend it out without shifting to the side, switch up sides. We've taken the arms out of our stabilization equation, so we've got a little more effort required. Keep alternating and try to prevent those hips from dropping down too much. If this is compressing the low back, you can take a break. That's, you've extended those muscles used beyond their capacity. But if you can, alternate a couple more times, and when you're ready, let's all meet with our butts on the ground this time. Pull the knees into the chest and wrap the kneecaps this time. Bring your forehead up to meet the knees. Rock and roll, front to back, all the way up into a seated position. Now that we're back facing the camera, we're going to staff pose this a little bit, bringing the feet wider than the hips, flexing the feet, making the chest nice and proud. Let's take the arms and let's sweep them backwards. So the arms aren't bent. We have a nice long arm and proud chest and engaged six-pack muscle. Beautiful. Now, as you work to pull the belly button in towards the spine and keep the spine long, we're going to lean back a little bit. So our hip flexors are going to bear some of the brunt of the work of the upper body. And then we're going to come back up to an upright position. And as you reach back the arms, we're going to maybe feel the fingertips touch upon the mat. That's fine. If you need to move them out to the side so they're away and not directly behind you, that's an option. Might release some of the pressure in the shoulder. Yes, that's correct. And then this time, so we hold back, bring hands over hearts, and then we're going to C curve the spine and come all the way down back onto the mat. Now that we've got a very thorough front and back abdominal activation, we're going to bring our feet and we're going to just bend the knees ever so slightly so that there's a big obtuse angle in the knee. We're going to make sure that the heels are about hip width apart. So we're going to make sure we've got just, enough space, 6-8 inches. And the internal rotation here is very important. So I'd like you to take the knees and rotate them in to touch each other and then bring the toes together. We're going to make sure the feet are flexed. So we should feel those shin muscles highly active. Now, our heels are one contact point and our butts the other contact point. We're going to bring our arms beside the body, and this is something we've done lots. And then I'm going to cup the hands so that the fingertips and thumb tips are the connection points. And then we're going to make the chest nice and proud. And then you're going to take your belly button and pull it into the spine. And this is before we've even done any activation. Holy mackerel. Now, I'd like you to take your thighs and try to squeeze them together. And as you've got that activation realized, I'd like you to try to lift the hips up off the earth. If they don't go, that's fine. This is not about achieving a certain result by conforming to what I'm asking. It's about realizing body's capability. So lower back down and then let the legs extend straight and let the feet open wide. So we have external rotation in the legs. And then we're going to do this again. Step, inch or two in. Knees are slightly bent. Thighs are rotated into touch. Thighs are squeezing together. Feet are flexed. Toes are touching. belly button drawn, fingertips on the earth, butt has risen up. And while we're here, we're going to try to isometrically activate the heels by pulling them towards your butt. And we're going to hold on that for a couple breaths. And as you release this breath, extend the legs back straight, let the feet splay back open again. We're going to come back to this one more time. Kirsten seems to be enjoying this immensely. She's got a big, yeah. And then same exercise. Feet pull forward, heels pull back in slightly. Rotation. Now, before we even get into the lift part, I'd like you to take your legs, the thighs, and squeeze them. And then keep your butt down. But this time we're going to open the legs. So we're just kind of using the heels as a hinge and open them wide so that you have exterior rotation in the feet. And then we're going to rotate the thighs back together again, squeeze them, and then exterior rotation. So we're going to practice between the 2 points. This is while your butt is down. So just do that a couple more times. This is a variation on the exercise that I like to do. You might recognize it. We've done it several thousand times. All right, so now on this next progression, I'd like you to squeeze the thighs. I'd like you to lift up the butt this time. And just like we practiced with the butt down, we're going to do interior and exterior rotation. So roll them out and then roll them back together, squeeze them, and then roll them out, and then rotate them back together again, squeeze hard, and rotate them back out, and rotate them back in, and squeeze hard, and then lower down. No, we don't have to say how many.
Yeah.
No, we really don't. We're having a little domestic going on here. All right, so extend the legs straight, point the toes. We're going to stretch it out here. Bring the arms above the head, extend them all the way back. All right, so excuse me. Grab some water. All right, so let's take your right. What do you mean stretch? You want to do this class? All right, let's take your right foot, plant it onto the earth. We're going to bring it a little wider than the hip. And then let's take your left foot and place it up onto the right thigh. All right, so we're going to anchor the heel, sorry, the ankle, anchor the ankle on that right thigh. And then we're going to take the left knee and try to open it away from the center or from the body. And then let's take our left arm and right arm and wrap it around our right hamstring. As we pull the right leg in towards the body, we're assisting with the arms. And we're going to try to pull in as much as we can. And then I want you to kind of check in with that tailbone of yours, because I'm witnessing something here that should really be changed a little bit, which is our tailbone. I like you to try to keep it connected with the earth. So externally rotate the tailbone so you can kind of feel that little bony protuberance of the pelvic girdle connected with the mat. All right, now lower down, switch sides.
Why do you move this left foot to the left?
So the left leg is going out slightly. It's just to change the, it's an external rotation of the left leg. It's fine. So we've anchored the right foot. Oh, sorry. The right foot's anchored on the left leg. The right knee is rotating away from the body. The left and right hands have reached through and wrapped around the hamstring of that left leg as we begin to pull it into the body. And as we begin to pull, I like you to limit the amount of pull based upon when that tailbone of yours wants to pull off the mat. So in effect, you're really losing the stretch that we're trying to accomplish. And then let's lower down that side and switch up. This time we're adding a progression to it. So we're doing the same thing. You can get into it as quickly as you like. And begin to pull in. And then release the grip of your hands on the leg. And see if you can take the musculature, the hips and leg itself, and try to pull that whole leg apparatus, left and right, a little closer. And then reset it, let it come back down onto the mat. Switching up sides. Same thing. The progression, of course, is not assisting with the arms this time. So pull it in, set the legs up. When you got them there, let them go. And then try to pull in a little more, again, without the assistance of the arms. And then return that back down. And extend the legs all the way straight. That's a lot of hip flexor work there, I know. Legs, toes pointing one direction, sweep the arms back, pull the opposite direction with them. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, let everything just kind of relax. Let the arms like fall down, find the position that's best for you. Now, let's take the back of your head and pull it long. So you have length through the back of the neck. It might flatten out the neck itself, that's fine, but don't make an effort just to make the neck flat, just pull and create activation in the neck and the muscles itself. There's length. You're going to take your chin and you're going to rotate it towards the left side and do the same, coming back center and then go right. And then oscillate between those two sides. Don't rush it. This is a thing where these muscles, experience better stretch and lengthening when they're in control as opposed to the momentum of your head, creating length through them. And then let's come back center, everybody, and then drop the chin into the chest. And then let the head slowly descend back down onto the mat. I guess Kirsten wants to get off to a party or something.
No, I wanted, I thought her.
And then drop the chin back down. And then lower the head back down. Rotate right. Back center, rotate left. Come back center. This time, pull the chin into the chest, extend the arms forward, and Pilates style, sit it up. Oh, a little more challenging today, is it?
No,
Oh, no, that's not challenging. I really got a strong core.
I do.
Okay, dive it all the way down. So this is really a great stretch. So, even though it's part of an abdominal exercise, you're really kind of getting the best of both worlds here in the posterior stretch kinetic chain. So your hamstrings, because we have a lot of hip flexion, you're getting your gluteals, and also because the lower back is going into lumbar and extension, you're getting all of that chain of muscle lengthening out. Should feel enjoyable. When you're ready, come back up to the seated position. We're not done yet. Let's take your right foot, pull it in towards your left leg. And then while you work to keep the sit bones, SIT bones up, that's the pelvic girdle, the ischium, if you know technically. Then we're going to just kind of walk forward and let the upper body just descend down. This is going to change it, making more of a lateral stretch or side body stretch. Walk the hands forward. Let the upper side go into flexion. Take a couple breaths. When you're ready, walk it back up. Switch up legs. And begin your descent on this one. couple of great stretches that we've done for our hamstrings, bilateral and unilateral. This is a unilateral stretch. We're focusing on one side versus both together. Back up. Oh, this is growing. Let's cross the legs this time. We're gonna do this one more time, this stretch. I'm gonna walk over both legs and then let the upper body descend. Back up. Switch up the legs. Let it fold back down. Release your next breath, walk it back up to the seated position. Extend the legs straight. Let's bring our hands over hearts. And let me thank you for your amazing participation today. A lot of stretchy, bendy stuff today. Namaste. Bye.